Story time. I want to take you back in time to a situation that I experienced that literally. So, this was many years ago. This was 3 babies ago. And here's how it went down. This is how it unfolded. So, rewind. I'm married to my first husband. I had just given birth a month or two before that to baby number 2, who were Irish twins. They were only 14 months apart. So, a little backstory is we had relocated and moved more than one time due to paranormal phenomenon happening in our homes. So, what that looked like was doorknobs twisting on their own, things moving around, just all kinds of different activities. And of course, like any sane person, get the fuck out of there real quick when it started happening. The problem came in when it kept happening, even in the new space, eventually, after some time. So, this particular day, both of my babies were laying down taking a nap, and I was getting ready to get in the shower. My then husband was also sleeping, taking a little cat nap on the couch. And as I stepped into the shower, I heard the phone ring. This was back in the day of answering machines. Yes, I'm that old. So I let the machine get it and continued on with my shower, knowing that I could check the message when I got out, which I did. And I fully expected it to be one of my friends, my mom, one of my siblings, somebody that I knew just calling for whatever reason. I can promise you I was not expecting what actually occurred next. What I heard was something that literally shook me to my soul. Far off in the distance on the recorded answering machine was this growl, roar. It was not lion, it was not animal, and it was not human. But as I listened to it, trying to understand what it was, something happened. So here's where it gets really wonky. It started to come closer. And not only could I feel it coming closer, I could hear it coming closer and louder. And I could feel the shift within my own body. So of course I did the only thing that I could do. I blamed my husband. I thought he was playing a trick on me, and I thought it was cruel and mean. And in truth, I didn't even believe that he did that, but I wanted to. And then I took my next step. I called the most spiritual person that I knew, and that was an aunt. And she was unavailable at the time. I talked to her son, my cousin, and I left the idea, the information of what the fuck was really going on. And then I left. I went about my business because that's what we do. And I went to the grocery store, and unbeknownst to me, while I was at the grocery store, which by the way needed to be done like ASAP, because if you've ever had 2 babies under the age of a year and a half, you don't want to take them with you grocery shopping. While I was gone, my aunt got the message. She came with a friend who was also very in tune spiritually, and left me some information to call her. Of course, I was very curious what she had to say. Here's what happened to her. Her sons and her husband, her deceased husband, was really heavily into race car driving, like not necessarily professionally, but her son actually has stepped into that arena years later. So the roar, the growling that I heard was not what she heard. She heard the roaring of an engine, the revving of that engine, but it was very similar because it got closer and it got louder. Needless to say, she removed my whole tape, the little tape for the cassette recorder, for the voice recorder, and destroyed it and left word for me to contact her. And out of all of this story, here it was the scariest part. What she said to me was this: Dawn, moving again is not going to be the solution. Your house is not haunted. You don't need to move. And I thought, that's very curious. But then what she said next floored me. She said, no, your house is not haunted. You are. Do I need to tell you how quick I shut that conversation down? Because I didn't know how to receive that. What the fuck does that even mean? How do I work with that? What do I do with that? I have no idea. It wasn't until many years later, decades later, that I understood what that meant. That I was a psychic medium, that I was an open channel, and that it was me that was attracting all of the spiritual activity and ghost-like behavior, the hauntings of my home. And now it doesn't scare me anymore. It actually excites me. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced anything like this. I want to start sharing some of these insights, these stories that I've kept inward all these years, that I've kept private, because I think you need to know. I know if I had known more from others along my journey, it would have been a fuck ton easier. And that's my goal, is to help you understand, no, you're not crazy, no, you're not broken, and no, you don't need fixed. You're fucking empowerment and magical.